21st, 2024. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just need a signature. The first item is the public hearing on SB2. I don't know if there's anything formal we need to do other than open the public hearing on the warrant article for SB2. I don't remember which warrant article it is. 9 maybe.
Sure.
8 or 9.
It's down there.
We can have comments?
Yes,
Oh.
the public meeting is open.
I want everybody to consider the audience that was there at the school deliberative. So SB2 comes up every year, it comes up in the town, and it comes up at the school, and it gets everybody all riled up, but when we look at who actually shows up to these, it's the same exact people. And when I look at the school deliberative in particular, was there really anybody there that has school-age children? No, because those people are with their kids on the weekend, they're at games, they're at this, they're at that, they just can't attend. And that is the reality of the modern day Deerfield, right? So when we look ahead, instead of putting this on every year and getting people all upset about it, I don't know. I feel like it's just kind of a waste of time. Deerfield has changed, everything has changed, and people just don't have the time and or ability to attend these big town hall meetings anymore. People get their information differently. Information is spread differently, and I think we've moved away from it, and I think we're going to be SB2 from here on out. So just consider that moving forward.
Thank you. Anyone else for comments for the public hearing on SB2? Okay, seeing none, unless anyone on the board has a comment. No? All right, we will close the public hearing. And we will move on to public comments on any topic.
Greg Whitmore, North Road. All right, so now that we're so close to having high school options cemented in, I'm curious, and I don't know about the past, but have we ever talked with Concord about having someone someone from Deerfield represented on their school board? I mean, if we're sending our students, or we've been sending our students there, it seems like we should have some sort of fair representation over there. At the very least, we should send one of our school board members to attend their meetings. I believe their meetings are, I was looking, I think they're only once a month from what I saw. So I think at the very least, we should have a representative there that's at least in the audience and has the ability to comment, just like someone that lives in Concord should. I think we need more representation as far as that's concerned. I would certainly feel more comfortable like that when my kid gets to that age, and I'd like to get more information coming out of the high schools now that we're going to have high schools. So, not just Concord, but eventually Co-Brown and PA. I want to see school members at those board meetings if feasible at all, and relaying information back to us about what's going on at the high schools, and trying to get more information about how our kids are doing. Not just once a year. When they show up, I want more information. I think we need to take on more responsibility for that. And the only other thing, there's been some parents, I got contacted a couple weeks ago, and I know other people have too. They have students who want to come out of private school or out of homeschool, and they want to get into something like Co-Brown, and they're running into obstacles. And I think if the policy could be made very clear, even put into print, so that everybody could just know, I think that would really help, because I don't know what to tell people. I have no clue. And it seems, just looking at the the agreements between the schools, it's still kind of murky. So I don't know if publicly stating something, putting it on the SAU website or whatnot, if you have a student that's attending private school and wants to move in, this is the process and this is how you do it, so on and so forth. Right? Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Kimberly Black, Meeting House Hill. I just wanted to express my disappointment in the written article for number 6. I still fully support it because I really feel that it's important that these contracts go to the DOE and get approved by the town. But, and I know that there was back and forth issues with seeing it. Obviously, we never got to actually see it before it was submitted anyway. But I was under the impression that it was going to be specifically, I guess, exclusively for the purpose of getting those contracts to the DOE. And I felt very blindsided by the extra subject matter that the attorneys had put in with the extension of the contracts and then the changes, the ability to make changes, which I do understand is important to be able to make some of those small changes once that contract gets addressed. But it felt very secretive and like, I guess, trickish. And I just feeling really disappointed in something that I really wanted to support. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other public comments? Okay. We will move on to agenda review. I did want to add a letter E for a solar bid discussion. Not sure that we can make a final decision, but I think there are some things worth discussing before the town vote. Anything else anyone wants to add?
I wanted to add something about just the way we used to operate, where we would have teachers come and talk, and when people left, they came for interviews. I just want to kind of bring that up. So I don't know what you would call it. Teachers. Sorry, I didn't really explain it well, but just we're going to add something about some questions I have about teachers and
Teachers,
leaving and teachers having a chance to come talk to us.
teachers talking to board. Okay. Anything else?
And I also wanted to have an update on Patty. What was the thing where we were going to do the survey and maybe have evaluations and stuff like that? If we can have an update on that.
I don't know, not evaluations, but the culture climate survey questions were published for parents at this point, and there was a letter that went home, because if you're gonna do a non-academic survey for students, parents have to give permission ahead of time before we do that. So we sent those out, and I think the survey is going out March 12th-ish. And people have 2 weeks to complete that, and it's going to be administered to the students who have permission to take it. And it will go to all staff members and families.
Okay, so students, staff, and families. Okay.
We kept the initial survey pretty short. There's 10 to 15 questions for each category.
Okay. Is it possible for us to see those questions?
Yep.
At some point.
So do we still need to add that as an agenda?
No,
item?
I'm fine. Yep. Oh, one more thing. It was probably the goals. Never mind. It's going to come up in the goals, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
I'm
the
good.
goals aren't specifically listed, but I know I forgot to put that on. But I think, did you want to talk about the lunch stuff?
But you've got that on there.
Yeah, lunch stuff's on there.
I was just thinking about our space, you know, we don't talk about that.
I know
We
that
need
was
to
one
talk
thing I
about it.
wanted to
Yeah,
have on there at some point.
our
Doesn't have to
space issues.
tonight, but
Yeah,
next
I
time.
think we'll add it for the next meeting,
Okay,
if that works.
that's fine. Yep.
Okay. So fire protection punch list is the first item up today. Chris, if you want to join us. For a little bit of context, obviously everyone heard the discussion from our prior meeting. There was a walkthrough yesterday. I attended with Chris and Chief Fisher and Assistant Chief Dubianski.
Can I ask a question? Was this
Please.
during a fire drill or just a
No.
walkthrough? Okay.
It was after school yesterday. Chief Fisher sent us, right before this meeting started, an email with some observations from the walkthrough, but I don't understand this to be the formal punch list that he will be sending.
Okay.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
The bathroom, I checked his concerns and they are built to plan. So if the board, I can, if you guys choose, I can answer that question. And the question regarding room 210 through 215 is being addressed early tomorrow morning with the tech.
Great.
That should be cleared up tomorrow. The other information is kind of for an engineer to weigh in on why the design was, and there's other questions. So if we want to pass that on to Craig Farnsworth at Wheaton. I believe he was in. No, he was not included in the email, so if you'd like, I can go ahead and forward that to him.
That would be great.
And Tim as well, I'm assuming.
I'll also forward it to
Tim?
RB Lewis, just to keep him in the loop, you know, update. And the very last one of his other concerns down at the bottom was the flammable substances in the cabinet in the science room. I'll check into that tomorrow and make sure we're all up to date on the
I know when,
SDF.
I know when I left, there were all the MSDS sheets. It was completely by code, the way the chemicals were, but
Yeah.
you said there's not, somebody said there wasn't much in it anymore, right?
There's
There's nothing
not-
in it.
Yeah.
So that just needs
I
to
can forward-
open it up and take a picture if it's empty, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can forward him the SDS sheets. And he can read through them.
If it's empty though, then you won't have any, right? So
What's that? I'm sorry.
she's,
I don't think there's anything in it.
Kristen thinks it's empty.
There were
There
a
are
few
some chemicals
things.
in there,
Yeah.
but
I don't know if there was any flammable
they
materials.
were rattling off and
Right.
they were saying, no, that's not flammable and that's
Well,
not flammable.
Regardless of whether it's flammable or not, you should have MSDS sheets,
Correct.
right? So,
And it's properly stored in a double wall.
Yeah,
Fire.
yeah.
approved cabinet.
so yeah, we just, whatever it is, see if there's MSDS
Sure.
sheets. I mean, I actually used that one time, a student, we had some issue and we took him to the nurse with the MSDS sheets. So you really do need to have those.
So yeah, I think we can address all of these.
I would like to make a request too, going back to him, if we don't have a formal punch list, can we make sure that we stipulate that we get the code, that the code is listed in the formal punch list, that they give us the code? I mean, it should be referenced, right? I mean, that's kind of their job too, so. That way we don't go back and forth if we ask for it
Sure.
ahead of time.
Do you want to do that? Do you want me to do that? Do you want
Maybe
Chris to
Chris.
do that? Hot potato?
When
Communicate
you-
with Matt about
Yeah, if
including
you're gonna
the
be emailing
code
back and
studies.
forth with him, yeah,
Yep, I
just
can do
ask
that.
if he includes the code with the punch list.
It's really important.
Yeah, it was interesting to attend the walkthrough, I'll say. The, like the alarms are different than like when we were in school.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see it and hear sort of what the difference is from the old system.
As just a little side humor, Kindergarten Cop's my favorite movie where he walks out with the kids underneath his arm screaming when they have the fire drill, but he thinks it's a real fire. He's got two kids running out and all the kids go screaming out. Just makes me laugh. Every time we had a fire drill, I always thought of that movie.
You picked up
I pick up 8th graders and I take them down the stairs. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Great. Anything else from this? Do we want to request like a date to get the punch list to us?
That would be nice. I thought we were gonna have this
Last week.
settled 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be settled by this week,
I
right?
think it would be nice to have a deadline just to keep everyone on track. I'm just trying to think. Next week is vacation. School vacation. I would say, what would be helpful to you, Chris? I mean, the board is less involved than,
I can take care of,
I guess we will have to sort of make decisions about the punch list in terms of like if we're gonna add things or.
I can take care of 3 of his 4 punch list items. The audio decibel
Yeah.
is more up to, I would think, an engineer and the code for that.
Did he tell you, Chris, when he was gonna have the rest of it ready for us?
No,
Do you think 2 weeks?
I would think so. I would think the first week after vacation, first
Maybe
full-
2 more
what's that
weeks
gonna
from
be,
now.
first full
Maybe,
week
yeah.
of,
Yeah, I would
Yes.
say request a punch list with and reference the codes by March 6th or March 8th, whatever. And then if we need to take formal action as a board, I think we can put that on our agenda for
Yep.
March 20th.
Sounds good.
Does that work?
So complete his punch list by March 8th and be ready for the meeting on March 20th.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Anyone else have anything related to the fire situation? All right, cool. Fiscal year 24 update.
Unfortunately, we went in the wrong direction. So right now, the deficit is at $460,000, 143. And I did add up, just because I couldn't remember the numbers, but between retainage and the special ed trust fund, we have 570 available to us. So we're still okay, but I'm not liking that it went in the other direction.
Do we know why?
So the special ed 1200 lines are currently overdrawn $670,000. And the special ed transportation is overdrawn $123,000. So luckily, it was freezing the budget and doing some other things made up for the rest of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're roughly $900,000
If we hadn't made up for it in other ways.
in just special ed.
So luckily, we had surplus in other places and froze the budget and have been doing very little spending.
And I know we talked about this during budget season, but were those things that are causing us to be $900,000 over adjusted for next year?
Yes. And that's part of the reason it went up
Right.
so much, is we
Yeah.
already had all these things happen this year.
Okay. Cool. I mean, not cool, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Bus grant application.
So Amy forwarded some information that she submitted so that you can see it, since Deerfield got in with the first round of funding that's gonna be more than the second round is, or the second round is gonna be more than the third round. So she's, I think we'll probably talk about it at the executive board, but even though Pembroke and Deerfield got in this round, still feeling like there needs to be a committee formed with members, at least one member from each of the towns to sort of start gathering information and looking into all of this and what would this entail. The brief application didn't commit to anything, but it gets you in on the first round of funding that's gonna have more money than the other rounds. So I don't know that we need to take any action. She just wanted to make sure you had what she had to look at and then.
What is this and do I need to sign that?
I had her move the funding resolution to the next meeting.
Okay.
We didn't put it on the agenda.
Got
so
it. I
yeah,
was like,
just
what is?
Ignore that.
Okay,
Yeah, ignore
I
that
thought it
for
was part
today.
of the grant.
No, it's
Okay,
not.
got it.
So what would be what are the next steps? So if we got into it, the next step is what to have.
Forming the committee.
And then
yes.
that's to figure out like how many buses, what it would
The
cost us if
logistics,
we.
how would we charge them, where would they be?
Right.
Yeah.
Where
all
would
of
we
that
store
stuff.
them?
And how much
Yeah.
money we might have to
Mhm.
raise to get them, yeah, okay.
How we would deal with staffing
All of
probably.
it.
All of
Yeah.
that, yeah, all of that,
It's gonna be a lot of work.
yeah, it's huge.
And then like, yeah, cause I imagine we would have to have some sort of training program to train people.
They just had something on NPR where they had bus drivers driving electric vehicles and they were saying how much they loved it, it's so quiet, the kids like it, you know, 'cause they just had a thing on it with all the
The
ones.
city of Boston, I think, has a
that
lot of electric buses.
Yeah, there's quite a few
electric school
cities that do,
buses.
yeah.
Yeah.
But one guy did say that one of the problems though was that he got to a certain point and he wasn't sure he was gonna make it home because he was running out of charge. So I mean, that's definitely something you have to look at, especially in
Deerfield,
especially in
yeah.
a rural area where you're driving so
Drive all the
far, yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just FYI, you don't need to do anything.
Yeah,
Yes.
She
So
wanted
when,
you to know that she submitted it and is asking the exec board to put together or take back to your boards and get volunteers to put together a committee.
I think it might be worth it when we're talking about committees after the election.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
just
I think
appoint
that's
Dividing up,
someone,
Yep,
even if nothing's gonna happen immediately, I think.
and
Add
there's,
that
you
to
had a
committees.
transportation.
Oh,
rep,
yeah.
But I don't know that that person is gonna wanna do this project, 'cause it's usually outside of what you deal with transportation.
Well, now they will.
It's a little
Yeah,
bit more.
this is way more than
Yeah.
just bus routes, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Got it. Okay, lunch prices.
So I received information back from food services and you cannot raise 10%, you can raise 10 cents in a school year. So, we would not be able to do the 25 cents that we were sort of contemplating at the first meeting that we talked about this. So I guess what you could consider is raising, an option is to raise it 10 cents this year. And then you could do another 10 cents next year. I don't, it doesn't require action. I've just been gathering information for your discussions and however you want to move forward, we'll support you and get the word
Yeah.
out.
By 10 cents, you don't mean immediate effectively, you mean starting next year.
That, it's up to the board, but it makes more sense to start
Yeah.
it from your school year than
Yeah.
to try to adjust something now.
We
You can
could
only
change
do
it right
10
now if we wanted to.
You could, with notice, but I think that might be tough.
Yeah, I would say with less than half of the year to go, it
Yeah.
might not make sense. I think, yeah, if we can only raise it 10 cents a year and we are 25 cents under sort of
Yeah.
market in our SAU, I think we probably should at least raise 10 cents. I mean, we should raise 10 cents for next year. Does anyone,
Yeah.
Probably do the update on the grant, the food grants, I mean, the possibility,
yeah,
so
do we want to take any action on the 10 cents
Oh.
today or do we not, do we want to wait?
what would be for next year, right? I don't think we should do it this year,
No, right.
No, you could vote to do it for next
for
year.
next year.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with 10 cents.
Okay, I will make a motion to raise, and it's just lunch, right?
Mhm.
Not breakfast.
Was it just lunch, Kristen, I think, or was it both?
Maybe we're not ready to make a motion.
Well, we could do lunch and come back to you
Okay.
if she wanted to do something with
Definitely
breakfast.
lunch.
It
I
was
don't
lunch was
we haven't
mentioned,
talked
I
a
don't
ton
know.
about
Yeah.
breakfast.
Okay.
In all of our conversation, I followed up conversation with her about
It was lunch.
Okay,
how
well,
much it takes to cost, how much the meal free and reduced, all of that stuff, so.
she can certainly think about breakfast if she wants to later, and we can talk about that later, but I'll make a motion to raise lunch prices for the 24-25 school year by 10 cents.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Okay, and you want to discuss about the grant?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like Daniela and I've been looking at the whole, like, food options, and this year, there's a farm to school grant, that's the the colloquial term for it. But it's money that's already allocated to schools. Like, you don't even have, like, it's there, you just have to do the paperwork and they'll give it to you. and it's to use local farms. So you can get anywhere from 2,000 you definitely get 2,000. You could get up to 10,000. They had said this is a webinar that I attended, or Zoom, whatever we listened to. So I just sent a question. It's through Hunger Solutions. They said they'll help you do the grants for it. They'll help you write them, do everything. So I sent an email to her and I was just asking about like, what do you need to do? How much paperwork is it?
Do we have to find the farm?
Yeah, so, and I
Okay.
was asking, like, is there a list of acceptable farms? Like, how does
Right.
that work? So basically, all that stuff I've already asked. I haven't heard back from her, but it was not too long ago that I sent the email. And if I don't hear back, I will call. But really just trying to find it out because there's only been 5 schools in New Hampshire that have applied for it.
Wow.
5, and that money's out there for all the schools. So, and we have farms here in Deerfield that I'm sure would love to help out. Yeah. So anyway.
And
then-
can it be on like specific things or is it,
It has
like-
to be locally produced stuff.
what does local mean?
Right, like
Um,
how local?
I don't know. That's why I asked about
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
acceptable list. Like, I don't know how far outside of Deerfield, if they mean just New Hampshire, like,
Right.
I don't really know. So that's all the stuff we need to find out. And is it, it could be different kinds of stuff, fruit, it could be meat, it could be, whatever.
Vegetables,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, and then the other thing is they have, I was gonna ask you, Kristen, do we provide breakfast after the bell or do we only provide breakfast in the morning before they start class?
Kids come in off the bus or out of the car line and go right to get their breakfast and then,
Okay.
but snacks are available as well.
Okay, because they were doing a push that they were calling breakfast after the bell, and they said there were available grants, and they were trying to make it where it was breakfast for all the kids. It didn't matter, and it was a grant and it paid for it. And the idea was to make sure that all kids got a good, breakfast. It may not, like we were just talking about it, and the breakfast, it might be a whole wheat muffin that somebody might think is not as healthy as the breakfast they give them at home, but it's still better than, a Twinkie or a pastry or a candy bar. Even I've had kids come in eating candy bars for breakfast. So I have some questions with her about that. And then the other thing is they had a school breakfast challenge, but I think it's too late in the year for that.
Mm.
So that was,
Well, PTO, we try to do something with Nutrition Month. So I don't know if that's something that PTO can help out with.
okay, maybe. I asked her about that as well.
Okay.
But, and that's through I think it's through a dairy association, and they might give you like a free smoothie, machine that makes smoothies, and they make smoothies and whatever. So I don't really know, but we're
PTO
kind of,
would love to help out that, yeah.
we're trying to find what we can do to help with the lunch and to make it more
And along with
locally
that,
and healthy.
there was another program, Fresh Fruit and Veggie Program. You're familiar with that
Yeah,
one?
we
Yeah.
qualify.
We didn't qualify? Okay,
No.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's
they
all
were
I have.
talking a lot about some schools are going to just having all free lunch and free breakfast and pretty much paying for it, getting
Yeah.
grants and paying for it. Because there are bills right now that are in the legislature to try and get free lunch. They've been trying to do it. And
There was
well,
just a bill.
they don't make it, and then they've got another one that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was just a bill that was approved by the House last week to raise the cap for free and reduced lunch to 350% of the poverty line.
Yeah.
So that may expand
That's right, they did mention
the
that one
amount of
too.
kids applying for that.
Yeah, but I wish we could just go to free lunch. Free breakfast, free lunch. They did that in Finland, and they made sure everybody got good, healthy meals, So,
That'd be great.
but anyway, so that's kind of where we stand, so we'll let you know when we hear more.
Great. All right, solar bid discussion. So I will just request that we not use names of companies.
So we'd call maybe the first one A and the second one B on your spreadsheet. You
Yep.
have a spreadsheet. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously, we have something about solar on our warrant article, so we can't, sort of agree to sign something today, because we don't know what the town will vote for or not. But I know you guys have done a lot of work to sort of look at our bids, and so I'd love to hear from you guys about what your thinking is.
Look at the spreadsheet that I printed out or we made. They kind of run close as far as the kilowatt design.
Yeah, and actually the B said that they could add more. They weren't putting it on the
Right,
slope
A
roof,
is
but
covering
they could.
the large slope over the gymnasium where B is not, so we can have an increase in more production. My goal was to at least get to 300. So A went over a little, B went under a little. PPA cost, FMV is fair market value, that can't be that cannot be determined until after year 5. So there's really no price, setting a price to it. Turnkey, we're not looking at that, so it's not that important. Neither is the grants, that'll go to the PPA.
So is this
Portion of the
turnkey what it would cost if we wanted to buy it outright?
Outright, yeah.
That's
see.
correct,
Got
that's without the grants.
Okay, I see.
The number of solar panels that they're recommending for the project. Behind the meter, savings per year is, company A is at 12,000. Company B is at 23,000.
What makes up yeah, why is that so different, especially with one that has less panels?
You're paying less per kilowatt hour. So if you look up at the top,
Yeah.
one's 0.09, the other one's 0.07, so it adds up. Use a
And
lot of
who sets
electricity.
that? The company, the solar company?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
That'll be set up by the PPA, what they want to charge us.
right, because they
I
own
see.
it and then
Per
they charge
kilowatt.
us.
I see, okay.
So if you think 5 years at those prices, the one's gonna give you 60,000 and the other one's gonna give you about 120, a little over 120,000
And savings.
in savings, which is, and I was thinking, I don't know how we could set that up, but how do you set up the savings and put that money into a, like that's kind of what you need to do if you're gonna try to buy it back. But I don't know how that works, but anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
Okay,
Okay.
it's okay. Project completion, both out to summer of 2025. There's just more work in it than I expected or
Oh, wow.
I understood. So yeah, there's a lot of paperwork.
Got it.
Going through New Hampshire Electrical Co-op, a design phase, and so it's not as quick, like, it'd be quick on a house, but a project this size is gonna take a lot of paperwork.
So I know the roof warranty,
Correct.
yeah,
Both contractors will cover the reinspection.
okay,
of the
got
roof,
it,
So
That's
we're
good.
covered there.
got it, okay.
Yeah.
And they actually put it in their estimates, so, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't think it was a big deal. They said it was like pennies more
Okay,
than what you do the first time.
okay. What is this addendums?
Addendum, 3 addendums went out, giving specific answers to questions that were posed by the contractors. They were supposed to include those in their bids.
Hmm.
Company A did, Company B did not.
Got it.
Was it
So
anything?
company B had a more complete submission?
Company B. Company B makes me think that they include. I can't really say that because we talked to everybody. I think it was just to cover ourselves for
Hmm.
future questions, if it, the addendum said this, when we're at installation time and they're doing something different, we can say, well, addendum this was issued on this date,
I see.
you guys should have known it. So I think it's just a way of covering ourselves for any future
Got it.
when that project takes place. I don't really have any concern because everything was covered. Everything in the addendums were covered when
In the
Ellen and I
proposal,
spoke with
yeah.
them. So, first year savings is double. 12,000 as opposed to 23,000.
Mhm.
Escalation rate 2% over 1.5.
That's another reason why you'd make more money from B, because the electric costs are gonna escalate at a lower rate than A.
I see.
O&M is operation and maintenance. They both cover, it will be covered in their 5-year contract with them. And then we can buy a O&M contract with them yearly, so.
Got it.
Equipment, just giving you the information on what panels and inverters and string inverters that they're looking at.
Are these just different manufacturers?
Correct, that's
Okay,
all it is.
And we, just so you know too, we were trying to figure out the differences because
right.
we had another company that also we interviewed, but we didn't put them in here because they didn't have a power purchase agreement. So we just excluded them because we can't afford to, $500,000 to buy
Yeah.
a system. I wish we could, but, so anyway, there was a difference between the one using the solar edge inverters and the other ones using string inverters. And we don't really know what the difference is. And I reached out and asked Wes Gollum, he didn't know, and you're still trying to get information from Clean Energy.
Waiting for information
Yeah.
from Clean
But-
Energy New Hampshire.
B didn't like the solar edge inverters and felt that they've used them a lot and felt that you're losing a lot of electricity through the inverters, and that's why they don't use them, which would be another reason why there might be more cost savings, you make more money on you save more on your electricity because you're making more. So, but we just don't know.
Careful listener to figure out who you're talking about. I'm sorry, this should all be about all. Sorry, just saying that.
I don't know.
Yeah, you throw numbers out, you throw terms out, it should all be in the public. To be fair to the bidders. I don't mean to
Oh.
interrupt, but, it's just sitting here saying, people figure it out.
Well,
Okay.
anyway, yep. So,
Impact study. Company A has it already into their cost. Company B has an allowance of 15,000. And then the roof inspections before and after are included in their numbers.
yeah. So I mean, we felt comfortable with both companies. So we just had some questions about the equipment that they use. And
And I checked with references. Company A came back with good references from other school districts that have done projects with them. B, no one has gotten back in touch with me whether they've worked with them before.
so you're still waiting to hear on that. And just to give you guys an idea, the one company did give an estimate for what the buyout would be. I mean, you don't know because it's fair market trade value, but just to get an idea, at the beginning of year 6, it would be $359,423. At least that's what I had written down somewhere. Does that sound right to you, Chris? That's what I had written down. Well, the buyout was the buyout's 423, and I was taking out some of the money. Yeah. So let's say around 420,000 might be the buyout. So that's why it's so important, if whatever the savings are, if we can put them in a fund or something so that we can use part of that money to offset the buyout, because that's still a lot of money. But 5 years, if we could put so much money in a trust fund.
I think the
every
only
5 years.
mechanism to do that would be warrant articles from surplus.
Yeah,
So that's what we're looking at with solar.
Cool.
Yep.
Excellent. This is a lot of work. Thank you.
Welcome.
and I think both companies, they were hoping they could be notified by March 1st.
Correct.
One specifically said they were willing to start doing some of the paperwork. It's because there's a grant period in March. I don't remember when it ends in March, and so you have a better chance of getting the money than waiting for the next grant period.
Even if we hadn't had the vote approved yet, they were willing
Yeah.
to
Yep.
take that chance.
Yeah, knowing that, yeah, and we were very clear about that. We said we can't make any commitment until we have that town vote. So, but we would need to talk about that if we were to agree on that.
So we don't have another meeting before March 1st.
Right.
So do you want something from the board?
The project's not gonna happen until the summer of 2025. I think the contractors are trying to give themselves as much time as possible. So I think and we made it clear that we're not meeting until we gave them the vote date and we said we'd get back to them after, so.
Right.
If I wouldn't mind getting back the information from Clear Energy New Hampshire, just to have them
I think
compare
that makes probably,
the information.
And it
get
sounds
back.
like it'd be good, because the one company you said you haven't heard back
Yeah,
from
I would
your
get
calls, so
yeah.
So,
it probably we're not, and we probably can't make a decision
So-
tonight.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
the first meeting in March is filling up quick, or the second meeting in March is filling up quickly
Mhm.
already. Okay. So we're gonna add solar. Well, I guess it will depend on how the vote goes,
How
but
the
I
vote
guess
goes. If the vote, yeah.
solar discussion.
So I guess I have a question for you guys. So I had talked to Wes about this, and he said, well, what are you doing to try to get people to vote for this warrant article? And I said, well, there's only so much we can do. We're not allowed to try to sway voters.
Correct.
So he said that the Energy Committee was willing to help with that. And then he wanted to know if he could have some numbers, and said, well, I don't know about that, because none of this is, the actual numbers.
Yeah, we don't have actual numbers until you choose a vendor.
Right, so I guess we'd say no. Okay, you could probably
I mean,
do
they
what
can-
you
people
could
can
maybe
talk
do what
about
an
it.
average savings would be, or something
Right.
like that, right?
Or to
Okay.
look at another school district who has solar and what their
Yeah,
savings.
or you could say the savings might be anywhere from 12,000 to 23,000 a
Yeah, I was
year.
gonna say, the bids
right?
have been opened, so you can certainly say.
Okay.
The range was this to this.
12 to 23,
And
okay.
Megan, yeah, and talking about it is great. You just can't give a
If
lot
the-
of
yeah, I
specific
mean-
information because we don't know yet.
Okay, sounds perfect, all right.
Cool. Anything else?
That is it. for now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Actually,
Oh.
maybe at the next meeting, we can talk about capital projects.
Okay.
Because I'm without a couple this summer.
He's
Oh.
You're
looking-
like, what will
he's
I
looking
do?
for
No, I
work.
have an easy summer here at DCS.
Yeah.
I do have some ideas, and I brought the capital project out to 2031. So I can make that
What year
presentation.
is that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you that information.
Yeah,
for
and
next
I'll put it in the
meeting.
drive for the,
Sure.
yeah, sure,
Okay.
thanks. Okay. Great.
All right. The new board members
Thank
are
you.
in for a
Thank you.
real doozy
Thanks,
of a
Chris.
meeting.
Yep.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, and then your,
Yeah, what I was wondering about is, we used to have, Nancy said it at one of the things, and it reminded me when I was a teacher. We used to have 2 times, we'd have board meetings where teachers they could come to just talk about any problems that they might have, and it was not long. Is there a reason why we stopped doing
Yeah.
it? So I can tell by your face, I'm seeing her
Sure is.
face, so I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, we have policies for, issues and complaints. And there were some instances, pretty cringy instances where, some things were said to board members that administration had never been made aware of. And it sort of turned into if you have things you want the board to know, you better come and tell us. And
Okay.
I love that you want to talk to teachers and hear from teachers, and I'm not trying to dissuade you from doing that, but we just have to be careful, like what.
the topic.
Yeah, is it just
Yeah.
a social, like, you wanna meet your teachers, come and share what's going on in the classroom, that's fantastic. You just have to be careful that it doesn't go back to kind of what it turned into, cause I was
Yeah,
here
that's-
during that time.
Okay.
You do have
Well, I
specific.
went to some of them, but I never was there
Yeah,
when
I mean,
that,
I
that-
think
none of
the
that
board,
happened.
we've tried to encourage teacher presentations, and it would be great for you to hear from them and meet the teachers you don't know and kind of share, anyone that
Okay.
wants to come can share what's going on in their classrooms. You just wanna be careful that this doesn't turn into
Yeah.
what it did.
Okay,
No
sure.
one's fault, it just sort of evolved into that, and we,
Yeah.
like Nate said, we put policies in place.
Yeah, so there are specific like escalation policies, so like, per policy, if a teacher has an issue, they need to go to Principal Withy or Superintendent Sherman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never even thought of it as a teacher coming and complaining about somebody,
Yeah.
because it was always
Well, that's why it was
presented to,
stopped.
when I was here, it was always presented like, the school board like to, if you have, something that you're doing that you want
Yeah.
them to know or whatever, it was always really happy and
Yeah.
friendly, but okay. And then the other thing I know, I think we stopped this a long time ago, maybe this is a policy too, but we used to interview teachers when they leave.
That would be my job.
Oh, so you
And I
interview
do,
teachers?
I do, yes.
Okay, all right.
We did have pre-COVID, we had periodic curricular updates about what was going on. where we
Yeah,
would
I would
have
love to
teachers
have that.
come in
Yeah,
I
that'd
feel
be
like I
cool.
don't know anything that's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and present about some cool stuff that they were doing, which was great.
yeah, we had some teachers do some really nice.
Loved hearing about it.
Yeah, I would love to hear from the new world studies person about what his
Or-
year
or-
has looked like. I mean, maybe closer to the end of the year, like sort of what topics they covered, like.
Once upon a time, I think even some students actually presented.
I was gonna say it's
occasionally.
really fun to see students go.
Oh, that is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've brought students.
Obviously with COVID and all that stuff, things all got
Things got
derailed,
derailed
but,
for a lot
uh,
of different reasons.
but there was
Yeah.
some cool stuff. We used to have our Concord representative students come and tell us about what was happening in Concord. That was very cool as well. I'd love to restart that.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
I
how
would
do we
love to
bring
do
that
that.
back in?
Say that again.
How do we bring that back in?
Concord,
Mhm.
I can reach out to the principal if you want.
I'd love to see
And we're
that.
gonna need to do it with Co-Brown too.
Right, but
Yeah,
right now,
yeah,
we only have students that,
Right.
most of the students are at Concord right now, so I think.
I'd like to hear about like some of the new programs, Krista, like we agreed to go with a new math program. I'd love to hear an update. How's it going? What are the teachers finding? What are the, I'd like to hear that kind of stuff, especially since it's our budget, so make sure that we're happy with it. Or our teachers are happy with it, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think you and I could probably come up with a tentative schedule or something.
Yeah,
All right.
That'd
I
be
do
great.
think we still have, don't forget, we have the art curriculum.
I will forget.
I have a note.
It'll be
I
on
will
your-
I asked Brooke at the meeting, because we just had a meeting Monday, and I said, Brooke, now remember, March 20th, right? Art's coming to the school board. And she goes, oh, are they? I said,
That's a
please,
big meeting.
please check,
Yeah.
please check, so she hasn't gotten back to me yet, but hopefully.
We may have to put the policies on hold, the 2 pages of policies. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We just have to get
You
back
know,
to them.
I
Yes.
wonder if there's a way, can we do policies by committee?
Yes, that's what I'm gonna suggest
Yeah.
on March 20th.
Why can't we do that?
We can.
Get together and plow through a
You
couple
can.
policies and then come
Pembroke
back to the
started doing
board
that.
and recommend.
Pembroke has
Allenstown has it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pembroke, a couple of the boards do that. And Pembroke has 2 members and they offline talk and they kind of go back and
Yeah.
forth and then they come to the committee. We've looked at these.
I would
Yeah,
love,
so
I would
I'd
love
be-
to
I'd
do
be-
that. Yeah, that
I'm
would
on
be,
board with that.
that would be great. Cause I
March
hate
20th.
wasting time on policies.
Mhm.
I know, that sounds terrible, cause that's like one of the most
That
important
is our
things.
job.
Very important, I know, but, yeah. All right, wrong words again, sorry.
March 20th is good for the art curriculum. I have an email here.
Oh, perfect, okay.
Yeah, that'll be a big meeting. Good first meeting for our new board members.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
nice and long. Look what you got yourself
Welcome.
into, we're leaving at 11 o'clock.
Okay, all right, that is all of our immediate business, so we'll go back to public comments. Come on, Robert.
Errol, you have nothing to say?
Okay,
Well, the energy committee chose not to take up.
Chose not to take up what offer? Oh, not to help with publicizing it? Oh, that's a bummer.
Well, no, I think you'll get the support you're looking for, but not from the committee per se.
okay. We don't have any non-public. Okay. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Wow.
I know.
I
Record.
second.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm sorry, thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Danielle can
And
second.
Danielle.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Do you want to text Zach in case he was thinking
Yeah.
of coming late?
feel a little lost.
I
coming
know.
up right now.